But your Miami Heat back in the American Airlines Arena tonight, taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Looking to bounce back from their loss to the Mavericks on Friday. Woo, that was a bad game.
Almost as bad as the one before that.
No. Well, the one before that was a great win against the Bucks, but the one before
no.
It was terrible. Yeah, it's been weird. It's a weird season so far, man. It's been a weird year.
It's been 2 weeks. Relax.
It has been. It has been 2 weeks. And I'd like to see Jimmy Butler for 5. Like, everybody's asking about the concerns for the Heat. I'd like to see Jimmy Butler for 5 games. As with the teams, like, because everyone's like 5 games, 5 starting lineups, supposed tinkering. I'm like, I'd like to see Jimmy Butler for 5 games and be healthy. Like, it would be nice.
They're having problems in play. Here's what's going to happen. This is just my opinion. One, who that is? Zone. Come on in, right? The zone is going to be back. They tried to man it up, right? It's not working. So, they tried to man up that perimeter defense and not working.
Yeah.
So they're going to invite.
I know this may say strange after a game where they gave up 47 threes, but that's or they gave up a record amount of threes and lose by 47. But the problem hasn't been defense, man. This team's offense has been atrocious.
I was gonna get to that point, and I think you're kind of. I won't say limited. I'm not gonna say limited. I'm trying to find a better word, but everybody has deemed you to be a D3 team, and they're going out of their way to stop their 3-point shooters and dare everybody to beat you with 2s, and dare the Heat to beat you with 2s. You see what I mean? And that's exactly what it looks like. They say, I don't care what you do, you're not going to shoot the 3 against us. Robbie should be proud at some of the perimeter defense played against the Heat. That being said, do you think
Hello? Hello? I did. Hello?
Yeah, this is the Godfather, Pat Riley.
Hey, what's up, Pat?
Calling inquiring about James Harden.
No, I don't think that's happening.
I don't think it's happening either.
I don't think it's a thing.
But here's what happens. When you're struggling scoring the basketball and there's a piece out there to fix it, and you're Pat Riley, isn't that what he does?
I just think that I think for right now, I don't think those talks are happening. I think
they're not. They're not.
I don't look at the situation either and think that like James Harden's been off to an amazing start and all that type of stuff, but it's so tough to go and judge what the Heat's offense is or what they're doing when Jimmy Butler's not playing. In the games that he has played, he's either been hobbled or just coming back because he did. I mean, that game. This past Friday against the Mavericks. I mean,
he scored 2 points.
Yeah, he didn't get a basket.
Throws.
Yeah,
right.
He didn't score a basket, and he just didn't. He doesn't look like himself.
Here's what I would say.
It was a rough watch, dude. Like they couldn't.
Right. No kidding.
They gave a beating to that rim. It was so bad. It was so bad.
How about this? 25 games.
Is the judgment level? That's where you want to go?
25 games. If you don't have consistent scoring, then you can say it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to just see cleaned up, I mean, the turnover has been such an issue for them. They're throwing the ball all over the place, and they're allowing the other team to get so many more shots up than they do. Has to get cleaned up somehow. And I know a lot of people are looking at this and saying that putting Tyler Hero as the starting point guard has been a bit of an issue. I think that he's cleaned that stuff up. I don't think that he's the main thing right now. If anything, I think Bam's had some games where he's been a little bit too willy-nilly with the basketball. But these are the things. Like it's been one of these where you've looked at this team and you thought that they were going to come in. Like this was a theory that the Heat tried to sell on everybody, is that they were going to come into this year and they were going to have more familiarity with themselves than anybody else, but it really hasn't been the case. Like they've tried to infiltrate a lot of new stuff early on, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that Jimmy hasn't been healthy, and the other has been that they've tried to infiltrate a lot of new guys as well. You went into a year where last year through the first half of the season, you had one starting lineup where it was Bam, Jimmy, Duncan, Myers, and Kendrick Nunn, and now two of those guys barely play. Like, Kendrick Nunn, he doesn't look like an NBA basketball player anymore, and Myers Leonard, who they brought back on a 1-year deal, but he doesn't play anymore. So
right. Right. Well, I mean, look, that's why I say 25 games, more so that you can get an idea of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's at this moment in time, there's a lot of scrambling to try to figure out who can do what and who can we depend on to do, certain things. I mean, Mo Harkless is, you know what he can do?
Oh,
foul.
Dude, he stinks.
Foul. That's what he can do. He can foul.
Mo Harkless, not a great first impression for me. Tell you who I love though, dude.
Who?
Love Precious Achiuwa.
Oh yeah.
Love him. Love him.
Nothing's funnier. He ain't. You can tell he ain't no Bam. He will put that thing on the floor and try to get him a shot.
He's got some great hands. I mean, he is just falling right. Like it was fun. I actually asked Bo about this yesterday at practice about just the idea because he didn't have an off season with the team. Like he comes right in, and so I was wondering if they were even gonna like play him at all. And he is those regular 15 minutes every single night where he gives them great energy. He's had some really great defensive moments.
Yeah, he's got his hands are a little, like sometimes you'll throw him that big play pass, and
I like his hands, man. Anytime I see him around the rim, it's not like Justice Winslow. I'll tell you that much.
Oh no.
He ain't Fiddler style.
No. But yeah, it's gonna. Here, I think they have lineups where literally nobody could shoot the three. And I think that Spo has to figure out a way to fix that, right? Because there would be a group on the floor, and you're like, yeah, Gogi can shoot the three, but that's not his thing, right? If it's open, he'll take it, but that's not his thing.
I just hope that I hope we get a healthy Jimmy Butler tonight. I'd like to see him just kind of looking more like himself, and I think that's going to help a lot of stuff because
I don't think they're worried. They do this every year.
I wonder about that. I've had that worry about the not worry, but I've had that wonder about the Heat team too because they come into this year talking about chip on their shoulder and that they have like this this real sense of revenge, but. And again, I know this is tough to gauge because of what the health of the team has been. It's been so inconsistent. But I do wonder, like, with all the tinkering that Spo's doing and all the kind of experimenting he's doing, do they feel like they'll always be able to write it by the playoffs because it'll probably end with Goran Dragic in the starting lineup and him playing with Bam and Jimmy, and that things will kind of get back to normal because it has felt very experimental early on with what they're doing.
Well, you have to with no Cam. Look at all the new bodies you got. So, I mean, and Spo, and it's twofold. One, you do this because you just got done with your season, and you want to give guys an opportunity to kind of work their way back in it. So maybe they have a date where, okay, when we get to this date, we're going to be 8 or 9 strong. And that's who we're going to run with. They've pretty much done this and been this way every year, even with the big three, where, they just kind of start off slow. And maybe that's because Spo's trying to get an idea of what his rotation is going to be, who can he use for what can they do defensively with each group, offensively, who's going to do what, who's going to be our ball handlers, who's going to do this. Because they've tried a lot of different guys handling the ball, a lot of turnovers. Speaking of ball handlers, did you see Steph last night? Oh,
I flipped over. It was on NBA TV because that Sunday Night Football kicked rocks, bro.
Oh.
And 62. I didn't know that he never had a 60-point game. I'm like, wait,
no.
I was like,
you know why? Because they take him out. They used to always take him out in the fourth quarter.
That's kind of crazy. Be a cheerleader. That's kind of crazy that he's never even just thrown up one in this entire run.
Plus, wait, think about this. He's never had 60, and his running mate had 37 and a quarter.
Yeah.
So they don't do that with Steph. Steph always has the ball. I think Steph could do that whenever he wanted to.
They were hunting,
but he doesn't do that.
When Draymond got that rebound yesterday, he was looking right for Steph, and Steph hit it like falling down. It was great. It was a great moment yesterday.
But yeah, cool. It's good. I just think the Heat, they've added probably 3 new guys that are going to be in the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, like Avery Bradley, I feel like it feels like they're cool on Mo Harkless in the early going. Avery Bradley feels like the real new piece that they're adding in, and then Precious. Precious is getting added in as well. Like Precious will play his 15 minutes every single night, and then Avery Bradley is getting in there as well. As far as Mo, I think in Mo they started off, but I feel like as soon as everything gets kind of settled with health, I don't know what Mo Harkless is. Yeah, and then everybody wants to see KZ. Like that's the thing everybody asks every single night. They're like, "Where's KZ? Why isn't KZ playing? It's KZ season. Where's KZ Akpala, bro?"
And that's just the thing too, is that you see these guys play in the minutes that Spo gives them, and they play well, and you think that would increase their opportunities, and then they don't play for a week. Right? You know what it is? I'm going to tell you. I'm very familiar with this. It's like playing running back for Bill Belichick. You have 25 carries, you have 100-plus yards, right? And then you have 3 carries the next 3 weeks.
Jonas Gray.
Well, no, that's because he got in trouble, and then he got cut after running for 200 yards.
All right, when we come back, I don't know if Robbie's going to even play it, but we'll see. I mean, it usually is hour 2 of the program, but people want me to cancel it, so we'll talk about the Dolphins.
Rats off the ship. I'm embarrassed.
The bum hour.
You guys are. Oh my!
We don't have that song. And then they will wear the jerseys tonight as they take on OKC, who's 2-3 on the season, much like your Miami Heat. Now Oklahoma City,
2 and what? 2 and 3.
2 and 3. 2 and 3.
All right.
Oklahoma City. Now everybody looks at them and says they're going to try and they're trying to tank this because they got a gazillion first-round picks, but not there yet because. It's very early on in the season. Miami lost on Friday to the Dallas Mavericks. It was one of the worst offensive games you've ever seen in your life. It was terrible. Brick City, Leroy, like the third little pig. It was terrible. Speaking of pigs, I mean, this Luka Doncic, I mean, throwing a crunch, my God. This guy. The baby fat assassin.
He's like the old guy playing rec basketball.
Oh my God! He put a move on Bam. I mean, he was going like 9 different. Put him in a spin cycle. He put him in. Poor Bam. He had him for 23 seconds, and on 24, whoop, right past him.
Oh gosh.
I mean, it was something. First win for Luka in the Slovenian showdown, as he was 0-2 against Gogi in his career. Because some of the games where Gogi, it was actually his first win against the Heat. Dallas is beating the Heat, and it was their first win in 2 years, I think. But as far as Luka versus Gogi, it was the first time he got a win against Gogi. So now the series is 2-1 Goran. But Luka was cooking. He was good in that game. He was really good in the Heat. I mean, they couldn't buy a bucket. Got a little bit going in the fourth quarter, but too little, too late. Damage was done, my friend. It was a tough one. So, look, the big thing tonight is you're hoping Jimmy Butler. I was surprised Jimmy Butler came back for that game against Dallas, Leroy, because I thought that he was banged up. He didn't play any of the Bucks games, and I thought you give him one extra game.
And then bring like a big one game ends up being like 4 extra days.
Yeah, I thought so. I was surprised that he played. I didn't really have any insight on it. It was just my thought. He came in he did not look like himself. He did not look good. Hopefully he'll look a lot better tonight. We'll see. He was 0 for 6, I think, from the field that game against Dallas. But here's Coach Spo. As there's been a lot of questions about the Heat's offensive struggles. Hasn't been great with them scoring the basketball. Hasn't been great with them controlling the basketball.
Can I tell you what he said? I'm just guessing.
Yeah,
we're getting open shots. They just not knocking them down. That's basketball.
This is Spo on not having Jimmy. If that's the root of the cause for the offensive struggles.
No, we're not going to make any excuses for it. We're better than what we've shown, and our guys know
that we're better than this. But this league is tough. There's really good teams, great defenses out there. We have to play better together to generate the kind of looks that fit our team the best, and that takes some real intention.
I'm not yet at the point where I'm ready to, make any grand, proclamations about this team or anything. I just don't feel like I've seen the real Miami Heat yet. For a 5-game, I'd like to see them for a 5-game stretch, Leroy, all together, all playing. And that's even kind of including the new guys, but just mostly, I'd like to see their best player out there for a stretch of the season, and they haven't had that yet. Now, I feel like Bam's looked really good. I will say, since that loss to Milwaukee, I think the last 2 games he's done a better job of trying to take some of that load. That second game that he came back against Giannis, where he was giving Giannis the business, that was what I want to see from Bam Adebayo on a night by night basis. I mean, Leroy, some of those moves that he was putting on his ass, where he was crossing him over. I mean, he was busting out the whole kitchen sink on him. And you see that, and you're excited, but you also are like, "Bam, I want to see that more, baby. Come on." And I think those are the types of things where if Jimmy doesn't have it going, you got to look over to number 13 and say, "Hey, let's crank up the aggression here a little bit." And I know he naturally doesn't feel like he's there yet, but we kind of need him to be. But it's been a weird year. Look, Milwaukee's off to a weird start. Brooklyn Nets, they lost to the Wizards yesterday. So there's a lot of stuff in the East that's kind of all kooky right now. Philadelphia's off to a really good start. So, I'm not at a point yet, Leroy, where I'm panicked, and I'm not at a point where I'm pleased. I'm just kind of like, this has been a very weird start to the season.
It's 5 games into the season. You knew it was going to be rough for a lot of teams, especially teams that played for an extended amount in the bubble. And you kind of just got to watch your team or suffer through your team fighting through it. And getting through this, one, hopefully they stay healthy. And 2, you're hoping that they can incorporate the new pieces and continue, moving forward. And so it's just going to take time.
And the one thing that I am actually, I think that's just kind of jumped off the first 5 games. I'm really pleased with Precious Achiuwa. I feel like they've had I feel like they nailed another pick here.
He's a big boy.
He's big. He's a big guy.
He's a big boy.
And they've thrown him up against Zion at certain point. They've thrown him and given some tough defensive assignments, and I feel like he's really shown some stuff and shown some flashes, which is what you want from him.
He looks really he looks strong, and if you see him standing next to Bam, he looks bigger than Bam.
He's swole.
Right. So from that standpoint, I think eventually he's going to be a guy that could also stretch the floor. Because he now, I tell you what, Jimmy better not have that bet with Precious. The Precious going to shoot it. That 3-point, Precious going to take his shots.
Yeah, because when we talked to Penny Hardaway was like, yeah, he wanted to come in. He wanted to be guy on the wing, making this is so if you give Precious the green light, he might go. He's like, green light? All right.
Yeah. I think they're gonna start playing zone a little bit more.
Let's hear a little bit from Gogi. Here's Gogi on the offense needing a little bit more flow.
I don't know. I just do my job. I mean, that's on coach's decision. What he's gonna do, but I think so. We just need to get more flow. Flow. Try to get up the floor faster. Try to get inside the action faster. And like I said before, just everybody working together. I think so. Pacing wise, I think so. That's the main difference. But like I said, Tyler is still young. I mean, he's a great basketball player, and was not easy because Jimmy was out for a few games. I think so. Him and Jimmy, they complicate. I mean, they really play together. So I think so. When Jimmy gets the rhythm, it's going to be much easier for that starting unit. So.
Yeah. Well, listen, they're starting off with this thing with Tyler. They've done a lot of different things with this starting lineup. They've had 5 different ones in 5 games. Part of that's a lot to do with Jimmy being out. But I think with Tyler, I would be interested. Like they've gone right now, Leroy. The last one they went was with Tyler. Then to put Iguodala in the starting lineup with Duncan, Jimmy, and Bam. And Spo is, he was praising up and down on Andre Iguodala, which I guess would essentially make him the 4 on the team right now. I don't know. I mean, I think it might be one of these things where that you kind of get these things settled. Maybe you do put Avery Bradley in the starting lineup with Tyler. To get things started up, but it does make you small to start off games if that is the case.
Here's what I would say is one of the biggest issues that the Heat are going to face. One of their biggest claims to fame is player development. That means that players that go from one year to the next develop their skills during the offseason.
Yeah.
There was no offseason.
There wasn't.
And so from that standpoint, you're going to have a lot of guys who normally would be progressing in certain areas not have that opportunity to get that work in, and they're doing it on the fly. I think Tyler may be one of those guys in that, they want his role to expand.
Yeah.
But he hasn't had a chance to develop and to get that work in with how they want it to expand. So he's coming back as the same player he was last year, just taking more chances.
Yeah, I think that from my standpoint, like if you ask Tyler if his role is to go out there and be a bucket and go get you scores, everybody's totally comfortable with that. Now that you're adding this heap onto his plate of having to run some of the offense early on, yeah, that is a big ask, especially with new guys on the team, with Jimmy being out. That is a big heap to put on him. But there's a sense I get from him early on, Leroy, even with Jimmy being out, that they are going to use some of this early period to tinker with some stuff and figure some stuff out.
Right.
Rather than feeling like, hey, we have to go from jump and go get this good record. I don't feel like I don't feel that desperation from them right now. Maybe
no, it's 5 games into the season. No, absolutely not. Now, here's what I would say. If you can get to 20, 25 games and be above 500 or somewhere around there, you're fine. If you're gonna be somewhere if you're gonna be like 10 and 15, then I'm a panic.
Yeah, then it's a little bit different.
Right.
But it's still early right now. Not yet. We take a quick break.